All right, so here's the thing. Over the past few months, I've been building small tools, dashboards, and apps for myself and for clients. And every single time I start a new project, I end up facing this one big question. Should I just go with Lovable Cloud? Or should I upgrade and use Supabase as my backend? Because both tools, they're amazing, but they're not built for the same type of person or the same type of app. Lovable Cloud is like that friend who makes everything super easy. You tell it what screen you want, it builds it. You want a form? Done. You want a dashboard? Done. It's fast, beginner-friendly, and honestly, it's fun to use. But then you try to build something a little bigger. Maybe you need stock-level automations. Maybe you need proper user roles. Maybe you need a database with real relationships, triggers, and security rules. And suddenly, Lovable starts to feel a little bit small. That's where Supabase enters the chat. Supabase is like the grown-up version of a backend. It gives you full Postgres, real auth, permissions, schema visualizer, automations, webhooks, basically everything serious apps need. So in this video, I want to break it down in the simplest way possible. What is Lovable Cloud truly good at? Where does Supabase shine? When should you use one over the other? And I'll show you real examples on screen so it's super clear, even if you're a complete beginner. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe and be part of this with us.
Let's talk about how each of these platforms handles your data. I already have a pre-built application powered by the power of Lovable Cloud for its backend. Show you guys how this Lovable Cloud actually works. Going on into this Lovable Cloud, you can see several tables in this database section. This is where your data is being stored. What is a table? It has columns and it has rows. The rows contains your data. You can give each table a distinct characteristic according to what your item is about. Or for example, this is the categories table. The categories can have characteristics such as the ID of that specific category, the name of that specific category, and when it was created at. All of these things you can tell Lovable to make it using AI. And the neat thing is if you click on this, you can manually add these things as well. But there is a little bit of a catch in here. This is all simple and all, but when you are adding these rows, it will actually take some of your credits off. If you were to do this for every table in your database, all your credits will get wasted for just adding rows into your tables. So what you can do is you can easily give a prompt in this section to add some data into the database, and Lovable will handle it no problem at all. But there is another little crack to this. Because Lovable Cloud is heavily associated with prompting, there is a lot less room for you to make modifications of your own. From this, we can tell that Lovable actually gives you simplicity. Everything feels like working with an organized list. You can see your tables, all clean tables. There are no wrong things at all. If you tell Lovable, this is a little bit odd, can you make this something like this? Lovable will make it. You can edit them, you can update them, you can upload files using the storage platform over here. Everything is very, very beginner friendly. But like I said before, your application is getting a little bit serious. You need a little bit more table. It will get a lot more costly for you as a user because you will have to buy more credits because you will have to do more change. This is when Supabase actually comes. Supabase gives you control. So you can see exactly how everything in your app is connected, visually like a map. When you go into the database, you will be treated with this thing called the schema visualized. What is a schema? It is just a blueprint of how your database tables are organized and what their relationships are. For example, when I zoom into one of these tables, you can see these dotted lines going over from one table to another. These are the relationships. For example, this says, the items table has a direct relationship with products table, and this products table has a relationship with this categories table. Likewise, you can see everything out perfectly for you. Everything is connected on, so your app always knows who placed this order, what items are inside that what order, what that stroke count is. And when you go to the tables tab, all the tables will be in here as well. And the neat thing in here as well, you can actually go ahead and add new tables according to your liking. You can add data types, you can add columns to add tables as well. Everything without giving up any type of credits. You can do everything without any type of credits. Since Supabase is open source, it is free to use. You can assign certain functions into this, certain triggers, but there is also a bit of a catch in here as well. because everything is done manually, it is not as beginner friendly as Lovable. So you will need to know what each of these sections mean and what each of these sections. Another big difference between Lovable Cloud and Supabase is what you get built in versus what you had to build yourself. Lovable Cloud is packed with features right out of the box. The moment you start a project, you automatically get login and users account where you can go into auth settings and configure how your users sign into your account. You do not have to set anything up manually. You can also enable anonymous users to sign into this account as well. No additional code is needed for that. You also get a session to store your files and images if you want. So whatever images your users upload into your application will be stored here. And also the neat thing about this is you will get the chance to enable AI usage inside your application as well. When you enable AI use in this section, it will automatically import all the models and the API keys needed for these setups. You do not have to go through their documentations and know how to import them into your application manually. And also you get to see what went wrong with your application in the logs session. For example, if something happened in this time period of my application, you can debug the errors using the log session, or you get the chance to automatically scale your application without having to do it manually. You don't install anything, you don't configure anything, you don't connect anything. It's already there waiting for you. When it comes to Supabase, it's actually a little bit different. It gives you more like a toolbar. In the toolbar on your left side, you can see all the tools in this toolbar. For example, if I go into this authentication section, you can see there are like a lot of configurations on the authentication. Let's say, for example, you add a new user from here, and you can actually configure what kind of policies, ID providers that user gets, session rate limits, even multi-factor authentication is there. If you're going a little bit more advanced, you can even go into URL configurations as well. And there are some other stuff like attack protection, authentication hooks, audit logs, and even more advanced features inside Supabase. When it goes to storage section, you get a lot more tools inside here as well. When it is compared to Lovable, the way you store things in Supabase is inside a bucket. Let's say you create this for images, and inside your application, you can send all the images into this bucket, and you can create another bucket for videos, and likewise, you can create for anything you want. It gives you a lot of organization freedom in terms of how you store stuff. And there are a couple of new features coming into Supabase as well in terms of storage, like analytics, where you can store large data sets and you can build dashboards using these large data sets and use these for reporting. And also a thing called vectors are coming soon. These vectors are basically numbers that represent certain images. These are really, really easy and efficient ways to store images and other type of files. Not only and storage, when it comes to functions, these things are true as well. You see this edge function, there's a lot of stuff you can play around with. You can even put your own secrets for each function, each edge function you are making. Also, the neat thing about Supabase is that it has a built-in reporting tools for certain tools you have inside of it, so you can get an overview about what is going wrong, what is getting used more often. But the thing I'm trying to highlight is how each of these tools work. You decide the rules, you do the wiring. It's amazing if you love building things your own way, but it does mean more setup, more planning, and more decisions. Now let's head on to the most interesting part of the video, how each platform handles automating workflows. So when it comes to Lovable Cloud, automating workflows is actually quite easy. If you do remember in our how data is being handled inside Lovable Cloud session, I explained about how Lovable is closely related to prompt. This is the way that you can actually automate your workflows as well. What you got to do is tell Lovable what you want to automate. It will automatically automate that workflow for you. And also another thing to keep in mind is that whenever you are using Lovable, you will get some amount of credits reduced. So when you are automating workflows, make sure that you know when these workflows are triggered, how long these workflows are being run, because if you do not handle this properly, a lot of credits might get reduced and it could be really costly. And also another thing to note down is that you cannot integrate Lovable Cloud with other existing automating platforms like N8N. It does not directly support it. This is actually a problem faced by other users as well. Like now you're seeing on your screen another example of how user is expressing his frustration about Lovable Cloud not being able to properly integrate with N8N. But there are workarounds for this. You can actually have a middleman like to fetch the data from Lovable using these API keys that are available in Lovable Cloud. But in terms of direct integrate, it is not possible. But when it comes to Supabase, this is where it shines the most. I will show you how easy it is to integrate this Supabase backend into an A10. First of all, you need to go into this toolbar and search up this project settings section. Go into the Data API tab and click on, just copy this project URL, then go into the API keys section and copy this service role secret. You can reveal it by clicking on reveal button, and then head on to the choice of automation platform. In this case, I will be using N8N. You click on this plus button, search up Supabase, and click on this and select function you want to do from here. In my case, I have already added a get function into this workflow I have created. You go into this node, click on this drop down on the top, go into create new credential. The host is basically the project URL you copied, and service role secret is basically the service role secret that you copied previously. And that is as easy as it gets when it comes to integrating. Alright, let's break down what we learned so far. Lovable Cloud gives you speed and everything ready out of the box. Supabase gives you full control and the freedom to build things your way. There is no right or wrong, it's all about what you need for your project. If you want more comparisons, more tutorials, or want me to go deeper into either platform, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.